Hello there, World of Tankers. Welcome to the channel. Hopefully all of you are doing well out there. I'm, of course, your host, World of Blitz, and in today's video, we are going to be talking about the Emil 2 in World of Tanks Blitz. Now, the Emil 1 and the Emil 2 were both nerfed last update, and it seems that ever since they were nerfed, pretty much everybody has stopped going for the Kronwagen line, which I find weird, because the Tier 10 was never touched, and by far, in my opinion, the grind up to the Kronwagen is still one of the easier grinds you'll find. The tanks are still very good, especially the Emil 1. In my personal opinion, is still one of the most strong tier 8s in the game, and that wasn't really English, but we're going to be playing in the Emil 2 today, seeing if it holds up to what it did originally. So, of course, if you enjoyed today's video, you want to see more like it, please consider smashing that subscribe button down below, as it helps out the channel a crazy amount. Now, what is good about the Emil 2 and what is bad? So, the good things are, of course, the frontal armor. It doesn't have the most armor. You know, tier 9s with premium shells can most likely get through your turret. That's the same thing for a lot of tier 10s. In fact, I don't think there's any tier 10 that can't cut through your turret, even if you're using gun depression, which is definitely something you need to keep in mind when you're trying to work gun depression on this vehicle. But against tier 8s, you're practically impervious on the turret. The upper plate is very tricky to penetrate. In fact, most tier 8s that are trying to penetrate it are going to bounce a lot of shells. It's a really strong haul, and the best thing about this vehicle, for my personal opinion, is the clip. You are getting a tier 10 gun on a tier 9 vehicle. So you have 3 shells. In 7 seconds, you are dealing 1,200 damage. Now, 1,200 damage is about 55% of this guy's hit points, you know, even more, about 70%. So it's crazy that you're able to deal so much damage in such a short amount of time with this vehicle, and that's what makes it so strong in my personal opinion. And while Wargaming did nerf the reload on the shells, it was only by about 1 second on one of them, and it lowered the DPM by like 50, which of course doesn't make it too bad. The real killer, I think, is going to be the dispersion on move. It's a lot worse now, which is not great, of course, because when you're trying to shoot opponents, yeah, it's going to be a bit of a pain. Now, another issue that a lot of people don't like about the Emil 2, the Kronwagen, are they're very slow. This tank only going 30 kilometers per hour at top speed. Yeah, that's quite a bit of a pain, but as you can see, we've got all 3 shells loaded into our magazine, and hopefully we're going to be able to get some nasty shells out into enemy opponents, like the IS-3 right there. Let's aim in on his hull. Oh, that was my fault, actually, but I just couldn't get enough gun depression to really tap him, but there you go. One nice tap into the Tiger 2's turret, and of course, we've got another shell loaded right in already. So that's the really nice thing, is when I'm not shooting at my enemies, I'm reloading shells, of course. The turret in this position here, as I said, against tier 8 opponents, is very strong. So I can just kind of sit here comfortably and not get hit by any enemy opponents until I poke at least. So we got the SU-130 off to the side. Let's load an HE. There you go, finishing off the SU-130 PM. We'll say thank you very much for that. We also got the IS-3 off to the side, but unfortunately my AMX 5100 was crossing the moment I wanted to get a shell into him. But I'm going to wait for this IS-3 to try and cross, possibly. We should be able to get 1 shell into him at least. Here we go, and fire. There's 1 shell into the IS-3, and let's aim in 1 more. Aiming, and fire. So there you go. That's 2 shells into that IS-3, and about 800 hit points slapped right off of his vehicle. Again, you can see just what makes this tank so strong is the ability to get out more shells than one, of course. So there you go. Now we're shooting like a single-shot vehicle, and you can see, well, I was going to say I got tapped through the turret, but that's a cupola shot. That's actually not even like what you normally expect. So again, we're just going to poke this here, try and get another shell into the Hori. Back in the cover, you can see they're shooting HE at me. The turret on this thing is extremely strong against tier 8s, and they really can't do anything to it. So what I'll do is I'll just reload another standard shell, and we'll try and tap this T-32 once again right through the turret. There you go, nice tap for 356. Like, you can see just what makes this tank's gun so incredibly good. And in another couple seconds, we'll have another shell into this T-32. Now, of course, he can penetrate me on the hull, but at the same time, we're easily going to go through him, let my Yag Tiger finish him off, and there you go. Pretty solid game for the first battle. Over 3,200 damage dealt so far, and we are still racking up those damage numbers. Let's shoot a shot at the Tiger 2, and all that's left is the T-95 and the T-54 all the way at the back of the map. I will say this T-54 is most likely the reason that the enemy team is losing right now, but we're going to reload 1 shell into the T-54. The nice thing is that, yes, I could be reloading each shell in this vehicle to make a whole clip loaded, but I'm not really going to be able to get out that damage, of course, because yeah, you can see that it takes a while to load in each shell. So I could have waited for my whole clip to load and I could have shot at this T95, or I can do what I'm doing right now and actually keeping decent DPM to what the clip normally is and just shooting this T95 in the lower plate every chance I get, which we're going to load a premium shell. And there you go, another nice tap for 425. Back in the cover again. We're already sitting at 4,600 damage. That's, of course, an incredibly large amount of damage when you do think about it. I don't think we're going to be able to out-reload that T92, but nonetheless, a very, very solid game pulled out for the first battle in the Emil 2. And it still shows you that against tier 8s, this thing absolutely slaps. That's 4,600 damage. That's, you know, tier 10 levels of damage, and that's still very high for tier 10. So, yeah, I can't complain in any means. But, of course, let's load in the one more game and see if that was just luck, or if when we go against tier 10s, which I have a feeling we will. Wow, actually, well, we did go against tier 10s, but not a terrible tier 10 match. We got a lot of tier 9s, but as well tier 10s on the enemy team. So the tier 10s we got to worry about, of course, are the Leopard 1 and the E100. Both of them have got good guns that are going to penetrate through my armor very easily. But again, the nice thing is that the only clipper the enemy team has is a standard B, and my clip is deadlier than that by quite a bit. I can shoot HE at it, so I'm not super worried. I've got an AMX50B, though, for me on the heavy side, and other than that, we really don't have many heavies, so hopefully the Yag Tiger is going to push, but honestly, I don't really want to push heavy. There's nobody we have on our team. Kind of a bad lineup, but to be honest, but yeah, I'm going to make my way over towards the medium side to see if we can get some shells out there. But our mediums are, this is what I don't understand about teams, but nothing I can do about that right now, so I'm just going to make my way over towards this side of the map and see what we can do. Going 38 kilometers per hour, not too bad on the mobility if you are running speed boost. That's one of the big saviors of this vehicle, I find, is speed boost, because if you're in a really tricky scenario and you need to get out, you can go really quickly in reverse, like incredibly quick, 30 kilometers per hour. So let's get one shell into the Leopard 1 here. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to get any more. Let's aim in a second. There you go. And that's 800 hit points we took off of that Leopard, and he's already taken out, which of course is really, really strong. And then, once again, I'm going to start reloading shells in the clip, which makes it even stronger. So we've got another 800 potential damage loaded in now, and once we start pushing on the standard B, hopefully we're going to get even more damage ready. So here we go, making my way over to the standard B. He's going to be pushed on, which of course means that we can come up from the side and get some HEs in. There's one HE, and yeah, that standard B is about to be taken out by my teammate, so let's keep on pushing here, see if we can get some more shells into maybe the T-54 on the enemy team. Our team is being pushed on by the heavies, but not super worried, to be honest, because we've got such a big leading advantage here. So here we are, the VK-45. That was a really unlucky shell, wasn't it? Let's aim one more shell at the rear of his turret. There you go, 390. Thank you very much. And we've also got like the T-30 here, who I don't want to get hit by. Yeah, no thank you. We're going to back up from that. But again, we've already done 2,200 damage. Like, you can see, damage is not hard to come by in this vehicle. Even though it's got very poor DPM, it doesn't matter too much because you're shooting vehicles with your single shot abilities half the time. So you can see I shot the T-54 twice with my single shot, and then I see this T-30 shoot, so I'm like, okay, well, I can shoot him once as well, so we'll shoot him once. There you go. Nice tap for 486. Finishing him off, and that's just about 3,000 damage now. Yep, there you go, 3,098. And then we just keep on moving our way up the battlefield. So we got like the M103 in front of us, and what I'm going to do is very, very sneaky. I'm going to wait for my clip to reload here. That way we can get at least 2 shells into the M103. You know, that way I can get some more nice shells out. So here we go, and there is my second shell loaded. So let's fire one shell at the lower plate of this M103, and we are already damaged, but so we'll also go for one in the lower plate of that E100. And there you go. So that's 3,856 damage once again in this battle we're able to output, which is a very respectable amount. And as you can see here, my whole team is trying to reload shells, and while they're doing that, we will just tap a nice shot right into the lower plate of that E100 because we have that auto reloading capability. And this game was over 4,000 damage once again, even against tier 10s. Now, I can't say that Leopard 1 played awful on their team, like instantly died, but nonetheless, 2 very solid games. And you can see that damage per minute isn't always key to doing well. With this tank, I was able to get 2 easy battles out, able to get 4,000 damage in both, and that's why the Emil is such a strong vehicle. And these are literally the only 2 games I've played the entire day. So I'm very happy to start off the day with this tank, and honestly, the stats in this vehicle as well, 80% with 3,200 average, show that, honestly, I would 100% suggest to go for this line, but I will still say, after yesterday's video on the Progetto, I would say that is a more enjoyable line. So, hopefully, you enjoyed today's video. If you want to see more like it, please consider smashing that subscribe button down below, as it helps out the channel a crazy, crazy amount. But other than that, hopefully all of you are doing well out there. Stay happy, stay healthy, and I'll be seeing you in the next one.